Before you opened the back door this morning, it had already happened. You hadn't made a sound. You hadn't touched the feeder. You were still inside, moving through your kitchen, cup in hand, and somewhere in the maple at the edge of your yard, a chickadee was already broadcasting. Not a general alarm, not a vague warning that something large was nearby. A specific, structured, information-dense call about you. Your size, your movement pattern, your level of threat. Transmitted to every bird and small animal within 100 feet in the time it takes you to blink.
Welcome back to Birds Actually. If you are new here, subscribe before you leave, because what you are about to learn changes the way you understand every moment you have ever spent in your yard. Today we are going into what birds are actually saying the moment you appear, what the alarm call contains, who receives it, what they do with it, how it spreads across species, and stay until the end, what it means that for some of you, that call has changed over time. Because the last thing we cover is the part that tells you exactly where you stand with the birds that have been watching you. Number 1. The call that goes out the moment you appear. There is a bird in your yard that functions as a living, continuous threat assessment system. The black-capped chickadee produces what researchers now understand to be one of the most information-dense vocalizations documented in any animal. You know the call, chickadee-dee-dee. It is so familiar it has become part of the silence of mornings. But every D at the end of that call is a data point, and the number of them is not random.
Ornithologists at the University of Washington established what the call is actually encoding. A small, fast, agile predator, something that can maneuver through branch cover and close distance on a small bird in under a second, triggers a call with up to 20 D notes or more. A large, slow predator that poses danger but can be avoided gets far fewer. The call is calibrated. It is precise. It communicates not just that something is there, but what kind of something, how dangerous it is, and what the appropriate response is. The call goes out instantly. Every bird in earshot receives it and responds accordingly. Nuthatches freeze or flee depending on the count. Titmice drop into cover. Cardinals stop singing and orient. Woodpeckers press flat against bark. They are all tuned in, all interpreting the same call, all acting on the same information simultaneously. When you step into your yard, a chickadee calls. The D notes it adds are its assessment of you. You are being evaluated and broadcast to every creature on the property every single time you appear.
Number 2. The early warning network that runs your yard. Most people think of their backyard birds as separate, species-by-species presences. The cardinals do their thing, the chickadees do theirs. A robin pulls worms from one corner of the lawn, while a nuthatch works the oak tree bark in another, and none of them have much to do with each other. That is not what is happening. The birds in your yard are a mixed community running shared communication infrastructure, and that infrastructure is sound. Research from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology has documented what scientists call heterospecific eavesdropping, the active, deliberate monitoring of other species' alarm calls to gather environmental information. The nuthatch is listening to the chickadee. The titmouse is listening to both. When the blue jay adds its call, that hard, descending cry that cuts through the entire yard, every bird, regardless of species, goes still within seconds. They know that call. They trust it. No verification required.
The network does not stop at birds. Research has confirmed that eastern grey squirrels, chipmunks, and other small mammals actively monitor bird alarm calls and adjust their behavior based on what those calls contain. Your yard
is a sensory web. Every creature in it with ears and a reason to care about predators is tuned into the same broadcast. What this means practically is this. The moment you appear, you do not trigger one response. You trigger a cascade, a ripple of recalibration that moves through every animal in the yard within seconds of the first call going out. Before you have taken 3 steps, the squirrel has shifted position, the cardinal has gone quiet, and the nuthatch has made a calculation about which direction to move. They all know you are there. The only variable is what they have been told about you.
Number 3. What the call actually says. Here is what most people have never been told. The call is not fixed. It changes. Researchers from the University of Exeter studied birds in residential gardens over extended periods and confirmed something that takes a moment to fully absorb. Birds that regularly encounter the same human behaving in a consistent and non-threatening way, moving at a predictable pace, providing food, not making sudden movements, gradually reduce their alarm response to that specific person over time. Not to all humans, not to strangers, to that person. The chickadee that has seen you 100 mornings at the feeder has built a file on you. And what it broadcasts now when you appear is not the same call it produced the first time it saw you. The D count has dropped. The urgency has lowered. The broadcast going out across your yard now carries a different message. Known presence. Assessed. Not dangerous.
Every bird that receives that call responds to it. The cardinal on the branch stays. The nuthatch keeps working. The titmouse does not flush. And if any of them had never personally encountered you before, they now have information about you from a bird that has. The reputation travels through the call before you have even reached the feeder. Number 4. The moment the call goes quiet. There is one more shift that happens in yards where the relationship between human and bird has gone deepest, and once you know to listen for it, you will not be able to stop noticing it. Birds produce 2 fundamentally different categories of sound around humans. Alarm calls, sharp, urgent, designed to warn, and contact calls, soft, low, conversational sounds that mean essentially, nothing is wrong. I am here, carry on.
In a yard where the human is unfamiliar or unpredictable, alarm calling increases the moment a person appears. In a yard where the human is known, deeply familiar, and has been assessed as safe, something different happens. The alarm calls quiet down. What replaces them is the soft, ongoing chatter of birds that have decided your presence is simply part of the environment, not a threat, not even a notable event, just the person who belongs here. That shift in the sound of your yard, from birds going still and quiet when you appear, to birds continuing their morning around you without interruption, is not nothing. It is the result of hundreds of broadcasts, hundreds of assessments, an ongoing shared conversation among every creature in your yard that has been happening without your knowledge every single morning. The yard you look at through your window is not a collection of individual animals doing individual things. It is a community with shared information, shared language, and a shared record of every human who has ever stood in it. You are in that record. The call that goes out when you appear is the entry they wrote. And if the birds in your yard keep singing when you step outside, if the chatter continues and nothing flushes, and the feeder stays busy around you, what you are hearing is not background sound. It is the result of a conversation you were never part of and never knew was happening. They assessed you. They compared notes. They broadcast the conclusion. You passed. And you have been passing every morning, longer than you knew. Tell me in the comments, is there one bird in your yard that seems completely unbothered by you? One that holds its ground no matter how close you get? I want to hear about it. I read every one. I'll see you in the next one.